Three sisters with stories to tell. Books in our hands, we know them well. Flipping pages where dreams dwell. Chapter one, here you go. Turn the light, let the words flow. Laughs and love in every show. Books, sweet hearts, we grow.
All right, welcome back to part 5 of The Things Gods Break. Hopefully you are reading along with us. This episode we are going to be going over chapters 55 through
66.
66.
Just know because that was my section.
Should be a pretty quick episode, I think. We'll see how it goes. I was thinking we may end up combining this with the next part if it's super quick, but we'll see.
I know my first part is going to be super quick. Like, didn't even take notes. I'm just here.
Yeah, it was roughly like 45 pages, so not much to talk through. But okay, so yeah, part 5 is time on my side or not. And Chrissy, you can kick it off with the shelf shakedown, rapid recap of last week's episode and where we're going into.
It's probably longer than all the discussion for this whole section. I'm going to go through quickly because a lot happened last week. So Hades is confronted in real time by all the gods who touch or wield death and Zeus, and he's being threatened if he tries to open Tartarus. And this is the first time we've had a Hades chapter that didn't coincide with the Lyra chapter. So it's a little confusing, but it was in real time. Lyra is still reeling from witnessing the Olympian gods taking down the Titans, and that she is the goddess of glamoring. Boone time traveled as well, but he went to Olympus, and Zeus was being what am I trying to think? This ultimate evil leader, wouldn't leave the throne, trying to take it for himself. In the aftermath of them taking down the Titans. And let's see, we get a little bit more from Persephone. She still is insisting she doesn't know how she got down there. But we do learn that she did try to escape the first few times with Pandora's box, and it didn't work for her. And between her and the Titans, they decided that option will only let Lyra in. It's not going to let Persephone out. They practice more for Poseidon's labor. They're doing these swinging hammer things that Lyra is also very bad at. And both Lyra and Boone in that moment get sucked up by a time crack. Lyra gets dropped into chaos in the underworld during the Anaxian War. It's just being flooded with mortal souls. Hades is overwhelmed. Charon is overwhelmed. And Lyra goes to Hades' room. All the while, he is just completely leveling Olympus, which he's racked with guilt about. He just completely loathes himself. Can't see how anybody would care for him. And he finds Lyra in his bed. He didn't assume she would be there. And she uses his coercion power on him to reassure him that he is the master of his own fate and he can overcome this prophecy we keep hearing about from his grandfather. He really is feeling her and wanting to kiss her. And then he's like, wait a minute, did you steal my power? What's happening here? And then he does the same to her. He's like, well, I'm going to coerce you into telling me what's going on with you. And she just says that she's in love with him. And at pretty much right in that moment, she's gone. She goes back into her time trap. And this is another first time she goes through one and is immediately sucked back in. And this was a huge revelation, something that we've been building up to. But Lyra witnesses the time where Hades is standing on the beach that she is alluded to, where she saves him. And Oceanus and Uranus are trying to kill Hades, and Kronos comes to save him, and he kills Uranus. I'm sorry. Anyways. But yeah, Lyra helps save baby Hades. And then after everybody kind of goes away, she sees Aphrodite getting bubbled up out of the ocean made from ichor blood and semen of Uranus, which is making her a Titan we're worried about. And the Titans actually ended up binding her powers. So we really are curious what Aphrodite, did I say Persephone? Because I meant to say Aphrodite. What Aphrodite is going to be coming, bringing to this story, and we're worried about it. Lyra's glamoring is tested a little more. She learns how to turn it on and off, and then she goes into Demeter's labor. she faces her mom and she faces Chance. And then before she finishes Demeter's labor, she's actually sucked into another time crack, and she's on these drugs from Demeter's labor, trying to tell Hades about the glamoring, that they're all glamored, and he just doesn't grasp or believe her. And when she is taken back, she's right back in the labor and facing a bug gut covered version of herself. And that's where we ended last episode.
Perfect.
Still felt like I left some stuff out, but that was a long recap.
Yeah, it was a lot happened. Sure.
It was a long episode last
It
week.
was a long
too.
episode.
Yeah,
It was a
I
very
think
long
it's
episode.
over a 3-hour recording. So
Oh gosh.
it'll be a good editing gig. But all right, let's jump right into Sister Takes. And Ashley's going to start us off with chapter 55 through 58.
Which encompasses basically just her finishing out Demeter's where's my final labor? Her lock. So in true Lyra fashion, we pop back in and she is in the silo, and anybody that ever has even witnessed what a silo looks like, there's only one thing that could possibly happen. And that is Demeter is about to just open the sieve and let all the corn fall in, which is exactly what happens.
Grain.
And
It's grain. Corn.
corn is a grain. Cough.
It is. No, I was thinking corn because of The Quiet Place. Because she
Love
also
that
gets
movie.
stuck in.
Never saw it.
It's so good. Anyways.
Yeah, so this is where Lyra is Lyra, and she's thinking like, oh wait, let's go through all the possible reasons why maybe I should just die here. Which is, I don't know if you guys felt it, but I was super annoyed because again, it's like how many times do we have to reset? Like I swear to Everlevin, whatever goddess is in charge, if we reset, I quit. Then past Lyra is like, what the hell is the matter with you? Let's go. And she's trying to pull her, and Lyra is still in her head, the only reason any of this has been working is because of Boone, and he's the one that's causing all of the changes, and the Titans even see it, and blah, blah, blah. There's some part in there where she's like, she's like the extra character in his story. This is really his story. He's the one that releases them. And it is very much poor, pitiful me in her subconscious thinking throughout this. And past Lyra is really trying to pull her through this grain/corn, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, anti-Hades, I don't know what he actually is, but
we can call
the
him
not
AI
so
Hades. I think that's working.
Okay. So AI Hades pops in out of nowhere, which I thought was kind of weird because why would he be actively trying to assist her in, completing these locks when he doesn't want the Titans to be let out? And it's also he's not in love with her. He's never, been through that life cycle or whatever whenever his AI version was created. So that was a little weird. But so he kind of.
Can we pause for a second there? Because that's the end of that chapter. And I just wanted to say, the only thing that really stood out to me from this one is that the whole time, all through the Crucible, Lyra is going out of her way and putting herself in danger to save other people. In the first 2 levels of this lock, she has to save somebody she doesn't care. That she wouldn't in real life probably put that much effort into saving this person. She probably eventually would give up and just say, I can't let them die. But then it turns on her and she has to let somebody else save her. She has to let herself save her. So it's this really big internal conflict, how I see it. That she was super annoying and pitiful, but at the same time, she is not somebody who is going to let somebody else stand up for her and pull her through something that she's having a hard time. She is a person that does that. So I thought that was interesting, and it makes a lot of sense why she has not made it through. She's struggled with this lock so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have much to add, just that Hades calls her his star, which I loved still. Said, I'm not him, the star, I'm from down here. Yeah.
She's like, did you open Tartarus?
Yeah.
How are you here?
How cool would that have been? Although if it would have been the real Hades that had popped into that lock, it would have killed him.
Yeah, that's true, because all of his powers would have been sucked out, and he is nothing without his power. So she was not thinking logically.
Okay. Hades yells at past Lyra and is like, go keep the door open, essentially. However, she ends up doing that. And he boosts her up, essentially, and kind of like she flings herself up and over him to like slide down the grain out the door. And she's freaking out because now he's like covered in the grain. And she's like, oh my God, I killed him. And then all of a sudden everything just disappears. And Demeter's like, okay, yay, you unlocked my lock. Congratulations. And
He did do the little, he reminded her that the butterfly was in her pocket too. Which I
Yeah.
was waiting for that to happen. I was like, when is this going to come into play? And I think
So
that helped ground
you're
her a
not
little bit.
wrong. But I feel like it didn't really help. Like it didn't take her out of like her head. She just kind of was like, Hades is here.
I mean, she literally says that just the memory that it exists clears my mind of the fog of the damn drink of Demeter's.
Yeah, my phone went wrong.
So I did a little bit.
Nah.
She was
I must have
reeling from
said
like,
red,
she
but
just came through like the worst part of the whole crucible and got jerked back into this and like, pure chaos.
yeah.
I love Lyra. So even when she gets on my nerves, I'm like, I get you, girl.
I mean, I like her too, but I am finding that it's getting harder and harder to continue to like her sometimes. I don't know. I can't help it. So, oh yeah, I was thinking about the other walk. Anyways, okay. So she comes out and, they're all sitting there waiting to kind of decompress, basically. And she's like, I don't deserve to be here. To which Kronos is like very awkward, like, no, none of us deserve to be here. But he's reading it differently than what she's meaning, obviously. And they never really kind of go into it, but essentially the chapter ends with everyone being like agreeing with her when she's like, yeah, this whole thing just fucking sucks.
And I guess that like this hasn't happened before where this Hades is helping her outside of it because Kronos seemed pretty like perturbed by it. Like that's not possible. That couldn't have happened. Like he's not alive or dead. Like he says he's something that both does and does not exist at the same time. And so I think that's I don't know. Like that's going to be something. The fact that this time around she's causing that kind of change within the locks too.
Okay. So then it's really just, the overarching line of thought here is they're really trying to kind of get the details of what's going on. And, Hades is pissed because they're like, you scared me. She's like, the fuck, what? I scared you. Like, or flip flop, I guess, technically. And he was like, yeah, you were willing to die in there. Which again, I was kind of like, why does he care?
She's confused. Like, is he worried? What's happening right now?
Yeah, because this version should not be worried. And then, Boone is back from wherever the hell he was from, wherever he was stuck that whole time. And then Phoebe comes into play and she has a vision, which I thought was super cool. The chapter ends with like, she has the vision and everybody's freaking out because also, they're right there by the obelisk. So they've got to keep her quiet. And all she says is Lyra and Boone are bound by a fated line.
In this chapter, they're also experiencing more of those earthquakes, and they're getting bigger every single time. So everybody's really worried about that. And Eurybia suggests that they should reset, and everybody's kind of like, should we? Don't do it.
Which I honestly think that's what kind of kicked off Phoebe's
she's like, wait,
vision. Yeah.
Baby.
And I thought this was actually kind of cute. So as soon as she says that, we go into the next chapter and, everybody was like, holy shit, there's no way that's not real. And then from the back, you hear over my dead body, which is AI 80s, which is the first time he's ever really cared one way or another vocally. And Boone turns and slaps his hand on the symbol and says, bye-bye. and like closes the lock. So Hades is just like out of the picture, which he can open it from the other side. But like, not really sure why Boone thought that was funny, but whatever.
But then Persephone runs from the room.
Yeah, she's real upset. And I mean, it's not even before we get to the bottom of the page, and Phoebe's like, it's not like lovers, it's something else.
Yeah.
And Kronos is asking, like, are you seeing a whole new future? You know, with Boone in play, we've all been kind of thinking, like, how does this come into play? And she hadn't ever seen any visions with him in there yet. So, but Phoebe's like, other than their faded thread, I still can't see anything about Boone, which is like very, like, I even, as I was reading it, I said out loud, I was like, dun dun dun.
Yeah,
Like, why can she not see anything
it's
about him?
suspicious.
Except it makes me think that, like, he's not making me out of this.
He has like some kind of glamour on him or something. That's some like curse or something that's making it where like he's not, like he's hidden. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, I find it very odd that, one, this is the first vision she's had of him ever.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the possibilities that could have happened, I mean, clearly, since this is the storyline we're reading, like, we know if they're getting out at all, it's going to be with him in it. So how did she never see that coming? But then to say that, you know, all she can see is that they're fated to some extent, but she can't see anything else on him. Very interesting. Okay. So they're all kind of going back with their theories on what this means with Boone and Lyra being fated. Lyra finally jumps in and is like, you know, it could all just be a lie. And I'm sure they're all kind of surprised by this because ever since she saw the whole Uranus trying to kill Hades things, like, she's been 100% on their side. Even she was already basically there before when she landed in the war between the Olympians and the Titans, but she was definitely already there through the last time warp. And now she's like, you could all just be manipulating us to let you out. Like, how do I know any different? Which I feel like would have been like complete whiplash for them, especially like Kronos.
Yeah, they've
when-
softened. They like all have softened so much to each other at this point.
Yeah. And In offers Nimazine to show her the memories of the past, which Kronos is like freaking the fuck out. I was like, no, absolutely not. He's yelling, and they're all worried about the pandemonium. And Nimazine speed flashes over to her, grabs her head on either side, and goes to show her all the different moments that she's had in her previous lives. But she does say that, like, she says, I'll only show you enough. And she doesn't show her anything of the future that she had made it further into in her previous lives. But Lyra is very much like, she believes it. She can tell that, like, she can feel it. She can smell it. She can, all of that. She knows it's not all manipulation. And it also shows her what it feels like when time resets, which I thought that was cool.
Just to feel herself die over and over and over again.
And toward the end, she can tell that, like, the memories are trying to, like, just absolutely consume her, and she gets really nauseous. And right as she's coming out of it, that's when Shimmer of Broken Time, followed by Dead Silence, as it takes me wherever it's taking me.
Something from this one is like a couple of times, especially after that realization with Boone, is that they're like, this is it. This is the one. This is the last time. Like everything is pointing to that. Like it's mentioned a couple of times. And then my only other thing from this one is that when she is going through all those, she mentions that the sensations are hard. The emotions are really what is the hardest part. So she feels all the terror, the pain, the despair, hope that just then gets destroyed, regret, guilt, anger, all of it ripping through her like electric shocks. And then she's like, well, what if, in her head, she's like, well, if I did this, maybe I could save this person. And she sees that, like, no matter what, some of these people who she learned to care about they never make it. So I don't know how you would emotionally recover from that any, like, sort of quickly.
No. And then to be
Compartmentalization. I don't know that she's a good compartmentalizer.
I don't think she is. I could give her a couple of good tips and become a master at it.
Hannah's getting better at not compartmentalizing. I cannot say that word very well.
All right. So then, jumping into chapter 59, we land in her bedroom in the den. And immediately she's, trying to acclimate herself. And she just, I don't know, just has this feeling and triggers all of these realizations or kind of starting to connect the dots that we have already been connecting. But she's thinking that everything has led her to this moment, and maybe she herself is the one controlling, maybe not the time warps themselves, but like when they're happening and these moments to ensure everything happens the way it's happening this time around. So she's going through, how she came about the axe, which we've talked about a lot through the last series and now this one. She's going through, she just found it on her bed, and when she would try to get rid of it, it would come back to her, etc. So she works on glamoring the axe, and says, don't leave Lyra-Kira's possession. Just again, trying to reiterate exactly what happened. So she's kind of going back in her memories to make sure she's doing everything the correct way. So again, she's remembering that she tried to throw it away, it kept coming back. So she leaves the axe on her bed, and she mentions this is kind of like a trial to see if she's right. She is worried about not having a weapon in Tartarus, but she again just has this feeling that this is what she needs to do. So she leaves the axe and she goes to, I guess, wander around, but then the time sucks her back up and throws her right back to Tartarus. And Kronos immediately asks where her axe is. And at this point, again, she's like an internal monologue about, that she's really pulling the strings and all of this. And she responds to him that the axe is exactly where it is supposed to be. And that was chapter 59.
I liked that she said,
Anything?
am I the puppet master in my own story? The woman behind the
Yeah.
curtain, even if I'm a haphazard one bumbling between memories and uneasy coincidence. So she's like, I suck at it, but I think it's me. I think I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I think we all agree.
It's better than it being Kronos like we thought at one point. That maybe Kronos had placed the time like we
I still
threw
think
that out.
he's in,
I
but
do too, somehow.
like the actual breaking of time, maybe like she specifically is working with him, or she gets more powers, who knows.
Hopefully.
Okay, I'm gonna restart the.
Yeah, it started lagging.
It was much better. All right. Jeez, all these powers.
I just had this thing. You know what this reminds me of? Her going through it the first time and not realizing what drove different things. And then she goes back and is reliving it in a different time. It reminds me of Harry Potter with the time turner when Harry Potter's like, my dad.
Oh, yeah.
But like, if he hadn't just done it, like he would have killed himself, past self.
Yeah.
And messed up time. That's what made me think of a little bit.
So jumping into chapter 60, Poseidon's log. They don't take us through the details. She just mentioned she got through easier than she thought she would. This is the labor they were really working on with the obstacle course, and she was having a hard time with her height and all of the things. But really, Boone was the only way she got through. He was a major help. He pretty much carried her up the shimmy, and they talk about how, she was essentially like riding his back, and he was just kind of manhandling her through that. So this is the fourth labor or fourth lock, and we have 3 more to go. So as soon as they're coming out of the lock, they're still inside and the bell rings. And Lyra calls to the Titans that, everybody come into the lock so they're safe. Boone notices that Persephone hasn't made it through.
Like the first time he ever shows any ounce of caring for her. He's like, oh my God, she's out there. Oh shit. Did I just say that out loud?
Yeah. Well, we got a little bit in the last couple chapters when Phoebe says that they're linked and Persephone runs out of the room and Boone's like,
Yeah.
then he ignores it. So again, just like a lot of these little hints on their relationship that we will find out about, I'm sure. soon. But yeah, in that moment when Boone notices Persephone's missing, their powers rush back to them. So both Lyra and Boone are, bent over in pain while their powers are rushing back. While that's happening, they see Iapetus get hit by the pandemonium. So he's starting to turn and he's like raging out. Phoebe is also not in yet. Iapetus sees Phoebe and starts running after her. They go to close it, but Koyos is Phoebe's mate, and he's like, "No, she's not in yet." And Phoebe's yelling back, like, "No, protect Lyra and Boone." So Koyos steps outside and then tells them to close the door without it. And Lyra's like, "We get to see, the fated pair, like what that means." I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I thought that was super
All
sweet.
that sacrifice.
Yeah. And then as the door's closing, they see gold blood hit the floor, and then the door shuts in. They're all locked in the lock.
That is pretty terrifying how it happened to Iapetus. And
Yes.
seeing that up close was
Yes. 61, waiting and wishing. So again, they're all just grouped up together. Kronos is upset at himself, saying, he knew better. They shouldn't have all been in the same place. Weird questions, like, can Iapetus kill Phoebe? And Kronos' response is sometimes death isn't the worst that can happen. So we don't really know exactly what happens, but it's not good. So Lyra also mentions, Boone would have definitely gone after Persephone had the powers not come back in that exact moment. So another little hint. And he says, "She's not my concern." And she's like, "You're a liar."
liar.
So then all of a sudden the gods just start naming off all these things that they want to do, like what they're most looking forward to doing as soon as they get released. They're like hang out with the kids, go get some ice cream, really just kind of humanizing all of them, and like their deepest desires really kind of all oriented around family and like seeing their kids and hanging out. And Cronus is like, I want to go back to the little cabin with all my kids on the benches, which I thought was sweet. So then Kronos asks, "Have you thought more of your fated bond?" And Lyra's just explaining, she doesn't know any other fates, I guess, besides this being like a romantic tie. So they're talking, and Kronos mentions lifelong friendship, or then he mentions sacrifice. So maybe playing into Ashley's theory that Boone dies, but hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. The sacrificial lamb, you wouldn't see a future because there's not one.
And he did die in the labor. So it could be a reoccurring, yep, we brought him back to life and now he's going to die for her again. So hopefully not, but
If that happens, can he be made into a god again?
yeah, I don't know. If you're a dead god already,
But the only way for him to die is to be in one of the labors when he's mortal.
right. I guess that's true. I don't know. Guess we will find out.
Dun dun.
Dun dun.
So those are the only two that Kronos goes into. So I'm assuming there's more. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. But then Kronos just mentions that they're all fated romantically. And
I was at first, I was like, everybody has a soulmate. Then I realized they were talking about just the Titans. All.
yeah. And Lyra's asking him to explain like what that feels like. And he describes what it's like with Rhea and how everything just fits. And she is sitting there comparing it to Hades and how that's how she feels with him. And then Kronos also is telling her that fates can be broken, that there have been instances where people have chosen not to be with their fated mate. It did okay and it did badly, both, but he reiterates to her that you always have a choice. And although the Titans have been manipulating time and like resetting things for her, at the end of the day, it's her choices that have landed her here, not their manipulation necessarily. Anything y'all want to add for that chapter?
Think so.
All right. So 62 allows confusion. Starts off, the door opens, and Persephone is there, which Lyra notices. Boone jerks towards her, but nobody else does, and he kind of like recorrects himself quickly. So his initial instinct was, to reach for her. So again, just a little another drop in our boon for 70 buckets. So they're all planning this. The Iapetus is still out there. They're all kind of planning on, how do we get to safety? And they plan to all spread out. Lyra's kind of in the back. She sees Persephone and Boone talking ahead, arguing a little bit, and then they go off on their own. And then at that time, another bell rings. So Rhea whips around and she notices that Lyra's still well behind and she's never going to make it to her. So she tells her just to run to the closest unsealed lock. So she starts running and screaming for Hades because all of the locks are closed. And the door finally opens and she notices him looking behind her, kind of panicking. And he's like, you need to run faster. So, yeah, she's just running and she does make it to him. And then the door closes behind. And so she notices and asks him, you could see them? And he's like, yes. And explains them to be just like a dark hole in the air. And he tells her that she should also be able to see them with her powers. So then she's asking, are they glamours? And he's like, no, they're not glamours, but they exist in another realm. So that's why she would also be able to see them. So I guess we kind of learned that glamours aren't the only thing. It's really any, whatever we want to call, this magical outside of this realm per se.
Did you guys think any more about this realm situation when you read through it? Like something existing over in another realm and it can interact with the realm that they're in? Like, does that, like, I feel like that could come into play as like how things are interacting or like how
Mhm.
Persephone maybe ended up down there. Like, what if
So
she's
I
just entirely in a different realm?
I thought so at first, but in one of the other sections, Lyra brought up like outside realms, like because of the time travel.
Yeah.
And Kronos, I think it was Kronos that was saying like, no, there aren't like different dimensions or whatever. So I kind of just tabled it with
Mhm.
I'm curious.
probably not, but I don't know, maybe.
I did remember that conversation too, but not the details. So I just kind of looped it in as the same scenario. But yeah, could be interesting.
Yeah, because realms and dimensions are two totally different things.
Yeah. So yeah, Lyra tells Hades how she learned to turn her power off, which she had it off at the time, and he is pissed about it. He's like, you need to keep it on. You need to be able to see what's going on. Like, that's what's going to help you. So then it goes into a conversation where Lyra's trying to let him know that the Titans aren't to be scared of, that he was glamored, and then Hades is very, you fell for their lies, like not believing her, and takes a step towards her and is like, I think maybe I need to kill you to reset time, and erase these lies that you have in your head. And Lyra's just like, you could do that, like you could hurt me. And he again is just like, I'm not the same Hades that you know. Lyra just kind of, she's like, I can't run from you, etc. So she's just like accepting her fate and says, then get it over with. And then he kisses her instead of killing her, which does tie back into maybe one of your chapters, actually, where Hades is like, because he saved her. And she's like, why'd you do that? He's like, I don't know. Maybe there's like a fate tied to us or something that's able to, carry through this AI version of him.
I didn't realize we didn't talk about that when we went through.
Yeah.
I remembered that happening, but I didn't remember where it was.
So they're making out. Lyra's just like, I don't care if this is the real Hades or not the real Hades.
Yeah, she said something about like feeling a part of his real soul or something like that.
Yeah. And then in that moment, the ground starts shaking. And Lyra mentions the cracks to Hades and like what's going on out there. She notices there's no cracks in the locks. And Hades is pushing back, like there's no earthquakes in Tartarus. This is, below all of this. And then he gives us like a real Hades quote. He's like, I can't do this. And then he disappears. And we're left with Lyra just laying against the door, waiting for the lock to open back up.
I don't think I had anything else to add.
All right.
Okay. So in chapter 63, Friends in Low Places, I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing on one of my chapters. I don't know why I like so much that a lot of times, every chapter there's song titles.
Yeah.
We run into
It
that
will
quite a
the
bit.
titles.
But Kronos finds Lyra hiding in Hades' luck, and he takes her back to their caverns. She is trying to go back to sleep, and then Persephone's like, "Hey," psst, and she's asking her about like she's ever lied to Hades. It opens up a little bit more about her travels and how she met Boone, and that the last time she ever went to him, they kissed, and then they did more, which is I feel like something we've
Yeah.
been waiting to hear. Like, did
Yes.
something happen between them? And yes, it did. And then she never got taken back to him ever again. Boone, but Boone got brought, I guess, to her. Like Boone time traveled to a spot and saw her and Hades together, and it looked like something it wasn't. And so he's pissed. So not only does he feel jilted, he's like super jealous, which explains their dynamic. Hades, and then Persephone goes on to just explain like that she loves Lyra because Lyra loves Hades, and only a few people love Hades, but she's like he's super special to her, and reinforces that fact that it's not a romantic love. That was my short summary of 63.
Yeah. I was gonna add something. I didn't have anything to add to that. I guess maybe not.
She does have this like when Persephone's asking her about how she ever lied to Hades. She has this realization that Persephone was never Hades' source. So I guess she thought at some point maybe that he was going back talking to her.
Yeah, that's what I had highlighted here as well.
Yeah, and
Where
then
she
like
iterating that she's the source.
and that it makes her realize that he didn't arrange with her to use Pandora's box to get out. It had to be somebody else. So that raises a question, but Lyra doesn't want to dig into it.
Yeah. And then to add to, that first or the last time Persephone had went to Boone and never saw him again, she had actually stolen the job he was on, which is like a big no-no for thieves or something. So that's really, I think, what probably has stuck with Boone. And they're like, oh gosh, no wonder.
Yeah, and she had the thing he was trying to steal as well.
Yeah, that's
she
what I
wanted to
said.
give it back to him, but sorry, I thought you were saying like his height. I don't know. I didn't realize you were talking about the object.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, all right. And then chapter 64, Fortune favors the bold or the colossally foolish. Lyra wakes up and there is like just a crack of time lingering above her. She's still sleeping next to Persephone. And she is ready to test this theory that she has about the cracks of time and how they appear when they appear. And Persephone kind of wakes up a little bit and was like, no, don't do it. Lyra says she learns a lot from him. She needs to do it. And this crack of time takes her to Hades in a moment where he's mourning Persephone. So she appears and he is like at the altar in his Olympus home, just really sad that he hasn't been able to save her. And she's trying to test whether she's Hades' source. She tells him that Persephone's not dead and that Hades does not welcome Lyra like he has in the past. He just like stares daggers at her. And it was a short chapter.
Yeah, nothing to add. Just that, yeah, she says I'm Hades' source, so she's dead certain.
Yeah. Yep. She has definitely decided it. All right. And then every time you go away, take a piece of me with you. It's Hall & Oates. This is the one I had to sing. Chapter 65. So Hades comes in very angry with Lyra. He's like spent all this time. I guess it's been a very long time since her last visit. I think he says more than an era to think about it.
No, go ahead.
Okay. He's had more than an era to think about it, and he has decided that he doesn't want anything to do with her at all. He doesn't want to long for her, remember her, and he tries to dismiss her and just tell her to go away. And Lyra tells him that Persephone's actually in Tartarus, and in order to get her out or try to get her out, he has to compete in the Crucible Games in the 21st century and try to save her with Pandora's box. And Lyra tells her to go to San Francisco to Zeus's temple the night of the selection ceremony and to choose the woman who's there to try to destroy or vandalize the temple. And she drops in another loose like a little Easter egg about the pearls, like you have to give her the pearls. And he goes, how do you know that the pomegranate seeds are pearls? So there was that. This was not my last chapter.
No.
But he was very much like, I'm not doing that. They're rigged. They're barbaric. Like even then, he knew that they were never like an honest win. And he stood up to morals, even if he didn't have those feelings towards Lyra at this point.
I highlighted where he is talking about her scent, and he says her scent familiar now, vanilla and citrus tinged with smoke, which I've always wondered at. Which doesn't she describe his scent as something to do with smoke?
I think so. And that makes sense, like them being part of the underworld, that being like an innate scent of them.
And them being like mates or whatever we're calling it in this faded.
Well, and the one thing we didn't touch on is,
I don't think I finished going through my notes. I don't really know what I'm doing.
well,
But
and
go, we'll just converse.
wait, is this the chapter from his perspective?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he keeps going on in his mind about like, she is the catalyst to the prophecy and the reason why I'm going to burn down the world. I know it.
Yeah. He does say
Which
that.
we all kind of like thought that early on, but now even Hades is thinking it too. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with her. She's going to be the reason I fulfill the prophecy.
Oh, I didn't mention about Pandora's box that he's like, there are only 2 ways to get it now. And she's like, yeah, Pandora's box. How do you know about that? Well, it's, and it starts to say how it works. It's a jar. You put it in a hole. It opens the back door. And he's just like, why do you know these things? Annoyed with her. Tells her he has to be king of gods. And at the end of the chapter, she is feeling bad because she's about to get taken away. Like she can see the crack coming for her. And she's sorry. And he just like very sincerely says he can't trust her. How do I trust anything you have to say? And she says, I'm yours and I've always been yours. That's how that chapter ends.
They're sweet.
And then chapter 66 was literally half a page. Hades hates Lyra. She worries whether she did the right thing or not. And she hopes she's the one pulling her own strings. Her past and futures are in her own. Her past and our futures are in her own hands. That's what she says. Yeah. She's worried that she ruined everything and didn't make the right choice.
Lovely.
Sorry.
That's you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know that there's too much to add this week as far as, not a whole lot of theories to talk through. Obviously, now we're excited she's realized that she's behind this. That's one big one we've been talking about for a while, that she's really the one mastering exactly when these whatever fissures are coming to give her the information she needs to keep progressing forward.
Now we have, who's locks left? Obviously Aphrodite, the last one.
Not Demeter, but the other one. Yeah, Zeus and Hera.
Hera. Wait. Okay. Zeus and Hera.
I know Hera has a lock because they bring it up. Like they're worried about it because that's the one where she's holding the baby.
But they haven't really said anything about Zeus's lock, have they? Like mentioned it all? He has to have
No, but
one.
Zeus has one.
Yeah. That's
Well, and
interesting.
Athena probably isn't playing in yet because she's a child of, I think she's Zeus's kid or something. So she probably wasn't around to make the locks anyways. But Hera definitely was.
Okay. The next section's called Puppet Master. So I think it's going to go more into her like manipulating the time. She I think I'm the puppet master. I am the puppet master. She's going to come in on a Metallica song. Master Puppets.
Oh my goodness.
Do we care to do bookends this episode, or do we want to do that for next one? There wasn't too much.
I was going to do it for the next one. There wasn't really enough for there to be a high or a low.
Yeah, this one was kind of a bummer, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. It was really a filler. Probably still good information, like tying up all the little loose ends. But I think also because the Crucible did this as well, where she was like sick for 3 labors. So I think it's like trying to get us to the end without having to go through, So it's important.
It was weird though, because they did so much prep for Poseidon's for us not to go through that labor. But Demeter's labor
it was all very non-specific too. Like, remember, none of us really understood what the hell they were training for. They never really went into any detail.
I think it literally was like an obstacle course. They even mentioned that like I can't remember what it said, but like, how each one has a moral.
Yeah.
The moral was like really
something really lame.
Yeah, like
she was like, that
doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm creeped out by Lyra making out with fake Hades. Like, I'm on Boone's side. I think this is really weird.
I'm less
I
creeped
could-
out by it because she's desperate at this point. Like, and it is a
Mhm.
part of him to some extent. And like,
And he
he's
also
been her
just
rock through all of
escaped.
it. Yeah.
So I'll be interested. I hope we find out like exactly what these AI versions are. Like, is it a piece of their soul? Is it like how are they connected to the original? Because I feel like we're seeing more of this one kind of giving more real Hades.
Like it has to be connected to them to some extent. Otherwise, Hestia's lock wouldn't have been that way.
Do you guys
Good
think
point.
that Hades, part of Hades' turn, it doesn't really mention it, but I feel like how she appeared to him, the time when she came during the lock, during Demeter's lock, and she's like talking about the glamours and stuff, that he's glamored still. If that's the case, like he's still glamored and he feels hatred towards her for saying that. Because that kind of came into my mind that they didn't ever get a chance to follow up on that and have another discussion about it. And now it's been a really long time and he just is showing only hate towards her. And Locke Hades is very much in denial about that. I think it's something about that glamour that just like causes immense anger at the mention of it, which I'm sure it is meant
Could
to
be.
deter the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it also he goes into it about like he's pissed off at himself too because of all these little tiny specks of time that they've spent together. It only equates to like a full day's worth of time. And he's completely just obsessed and in love with her. And he is upset because she gets to just come and go
Yeah.
as she pleases, in his opinion. And so I feel like he's just like bitter, which I can't really blame him because if the shoes were on the other foot, like, I know I'd be bitter.
I want to hear when he decides to stop. And I don't think it's going to be until he gets to actually getting Lyra. I think he still hated her whenever he started the Crucible. When he goes and picks her, I think he still hated her.
Yeah.
And then like was
I
able to find his way
honestly,
back.
I want real Hades to catch Lyra making out with AI Hades and see how he feels about that.
You bitch. How dare you cheat on me with me?
I'm really curious. Like, can you imagine? Like,
Oh my gosh.
I just want to light that fire a little bit.
Blue fire.
Blue fire of rage.
That was the fastest one ever, guys.
Yeah.
We
I'm
did
Well,
not mad about it.
the
I'm
next
still
episode for-
exhausted.
5.
It's
Let's see.
how many pages is it?
We'll see you guys in the next episode for part 5. And I'm sure there will be more meat to that one.
Yes.
Love you, sisters.
Love you too.
Hey guys,
See you guys
bye.
next time.